Khamzat Chimaev is in the headlines again, but this time it's not for a fight inside the octagon. It's for a wild physical altercation that allegedly took place inside a Moscow subway station. According to UFC middleweight contender Shera Magomedov, known as Shera Bullet, the two fighters were involved in a street brawl that ended with two men getting knocked out. Shera broke the story during a Russian media interview, and it's already making waves across the MMA world. While Chimaev and Shera haven't always been friendly, especially after Khamzat publicly mocked Shera's wrestling skills, the two had apparently smoothed things over in recent months. They'd been spotted training together and hanging out in Russia, thanks in part to shared management and mutual acquaintances. But that newly formed bond was tested in dramatic fashion. Shera says the two were heading into a metro station when a shoulder bump with a group of loud locals led to a tense verbal exchange. According to Shera, things escalated quickly. One man grabbed him and challenged them both to take things outside. That's when it all exploded. "We both snapped," Shera said. The fight broke out, two of them got knocked out, and the others ran. No footage of the brawl has surfaced yet, but if it does, there's no question it would go viral instantly. With two elite-level fighters going full throttle in public, the entire situation sounds like something out of an action movie. And while the legality of the scuffle may come into question, for fans, it only adds to Chimaev's growing legend as a fighter who seems to live his life at full intensity, both in and out of the cage. Meanwhile, the fight world continues to speculate on when we'll next see Chimaev back in the octagon. Some, like Arman Tsarukyan, have come to Chimaev's defense over criticisms of his cardio. Arman, who has trained alongside Khamzat, says the idea that Chimaev has poor endurance is totally false. In fact, he says it's the opposite. Chimaev trains so hard and violently, sparring with 5 or 6 fresh partners back-to-back, that he walks into his fights already drained. He overtrains, Arman explained. He knocks one guy out in the gym, smashes another, and keeps going. That's why he looks tired during fights. He's already pushed his body past its limit before he even steps into the cage. This isn't the first time we've heard about Chimaev's relentless work ethic. Fighters like Jalen Turner, Michael Venom Page, and Alexander Gustafsson have all described his training intensity as borderline inhuman. So the question isn't whether Khamzat's cardio is real. It's whether he can learn to better pace himself before fight night. In the same interview, Arman also gave his thoughts on Islam Makhachev's future. He believes that after Islam eventually moves up to 170 pounds and potentially wins the welterweight belt, we might see the reigning lightweight champ retire shortly after 2 title defenses. According to Arman, Islam will go up, win the belt, defend it twice, and then call it a day. As for Khamzat, Arman still believes that at 170, or even 185, nobody is touching him. He's on another level, Arman said. "I've trained with him. I know how good he really is." While the focus on Khamzat and Shera's brawl has taken over headlines, other MMA storylines continue to evolve, including the long-awaited heavyweight title fight between Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall. Jones recently broke his silence, saying the UFC is working on something big, but that he can't announce it just yet. Funny enough, Michael Bisping, who has had a long-running feud with Ariel Helwani, actually backed up Helwani's report that the UFC had met Jones' financial demands for the fight. "I actually believe Ariel's right this time," Bisping said on his YouTube channel, even if he's a bell end. Bisping and Helwani have had public beef for years. Helwani once blasted Bisping for being a Dana White bootlicker, while Bisping has regularly mocked Helwani's reporting style and attitude. Despite the jabs, both men now seem to agree. Jones versus Aspinall is going to be the biggest heavyweight fight in UFC history. "It needs to happen at Madison Square Garden," Bisping added. "This fight is too big not to have an iconic venue." As Jones gears up for what could be the final chapter of his legendary career, the stakes couldn't be higher. This fight might earn him one of the biggest paydays in MMA history, rivaled only by Conor McGregor. Over in the bantamweight division, Sean O'Malley is opening up about why things went south in his first meeting with Merab Dvalishvili. According to Sugar, overconfidence was his downfall. "I underestimated how relentless Merab was," O'Malley admitted. "And yeah, I had a torn labrum heading into the fight. But I didn't want to pull out because it was the Sphere event in Vegas. I wasn't missing that. Now, as the rematch looms at UFC 316, O'Malley sees it as a full-circle moment. Makhachev is stepping in for his second title defense, but this time against the man he took the belt from. For O'Malley, it's not just a shot at redemption. It's a chance to prove that the first time wasn't the whole story. Makhachev, meanwhile, is laser-focused. "I'm expecting the best version of Sean O'Malley," he said. "But I'm not just here to defend the title. I'm here to dominate again." With the UFC landscape constantly shifting, moments like the Chimaev-Shira subway incident show just how wild and unpredictable the sport has become. Whether it's spontaneous brawls, legacy fights, or bitter rivalries spilling into real life, MMA continues to deliver the kind of raw drama that few other sports can match.